We reserve a few minutes every Sunday morning to suggest news or trends that seem to be predicted by our literal futurist reading of Bible prophecy. We're careful to use mainstream sources for our news. That's because there's a lot of sensationalism surrounding unfulfilled Bible prophecy. We don't want to add to that. There's just a lot of nutty sites who think that just about anything is prophetic. We're not saying that the things we report are the definite fulfillment of Bible prophecy, only that they are the things you would expect by holding a Bible in one hand and reading a newspaper in the other. The Apostle Paul described the last days, and he said this: "In the last days, perilous times will come. Men will be lovers of themselves. They will be lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power." One commentator summarized by saying, Paul describes those whose love for God and the saints is only in pretense, not in reality. I therefore found disturbing the conclusion of a recent poll that, and I quote, "Only 6% of adults in this country have what George Barna defines as a biblical worldview." Let me read some excerpts from the article. On how they would define success, about 1 in 5 said living and healthy, productive and safe. Another 22% said being a good person. About the same amount answered personal happiness and freedom. Only 21% replied that success is consistent obedience to God. And so with all those choices, that only came in at 20%. When Barna asked them to agree with more statements about God's love and existence, who he is, and his involvement in our lives, only 10% of the population lined up on all of them. According to Barna, a person's worldview starts developing at 18 months of age, and it's almost completely developed by age 13. That's why I'm such a mess. That's not a lot of time, and we as parents aren't the only influencers. There's the media, their friends, teachers, public officials. They all help shape their thinking about right and wrong, purpose, God, and life. Barna went on to say, when we talk with parents, we find that less than 5% of parents of kids under 13 have a biblical worldview. So we've got to change our plan if we want a different outcome. Complicated, I know, but it sounds a great deal like the Apostle Paul's prediction that there would be a falling away from the faith, a different kind of worldview is what he was talking about. And this is among Christians. We're not talking about people in the world. Christians don't have a Christian worldview, and so they can't pass it on. And that's what we would expect, kind of a softening of Christianity and a losing of perspective in the last days. We believe the resurrection and rapture of the church is imminent. Jesus promised he would come and raise the dead in Christ, and at the same time, he would rapture living believers, changing us in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, transforming us into glorious bodies and raising us as well. And imminent means it could happen at any moment. We like to say the Lord's coming is soon, but it's actually not right to say that. Soon indicates that it could be a period of time. The Lord could come right now. It's imminent. That's how it's projected in the Bible. And so that's why we always ask, are you ready for the rapture? If not, get ready. Stay ready. Keep looking up, because ready or not, Jesus is coming.